Well, welcome to lesson number 3. This lesson is going to wrap up Module 1, and it is adverse childhood experiences and their impact. The major focus of this lesson is going to be a review of a study done by the CDC called the ACEs study. We'll be spending some considerable time looking at that. I'll be going over that website with you just to give you an idea of what it looks like and areas of focus to pay attention to. Once we're done doing a quick lecture here and you guys spend some significant time looking at the study, the discussion board topics for this lesson are the following: reflecting on what may constitute adverse childhood experiences, talk about how suffering, just one, might affect a young developing child. And then topic number 2, imagine a situation where a child is regularly subjected to adverse childhood experiences on an almost daily basis, and discuss how this child might be affected by those experiences. All right, so those will be the discussion topics for this lesson. So here's the website that we'll be looking at for the ACEs study. If you don't have that pulled up yet on your computer, you might want to do that. Again, I'll be going through the slides here in a fairly quick fashion, just so you know what areas to focus on. You might want to take some quick notes along the way as well, so that you know exactly the areas to focus on. All right, guys, so we're looking at the adverse childhood experiences, otherwise known as the ACEs study. I'm going to show you some of these web pages here within this site. You've got the link to this. I want to show you some of the things that I'd like you to particularly pay attention to. So you can see the study was done by the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. It is an ongoing study. What I'm going to show you here are just a couple of the areas of focus for this particular lesson. What I'd like you guys to look at when you get to this page is click over here on the More side. And we're going to explore, of course, I want you to read through these things. Now I'm just going to fly through and explain some of these highlights here, but obviously I want you to slow things down and really read the details of all this stuff. So, adverse childhood experiences study. What you'll find in here is what I would consider would be common sense, but the study provides backup material so that we can actually demonstrate and show the impact that traumatic events have on children. So this is an area within More that I want you to look at, so read through this section right here. I'd like you to focus on the association between the ACEs study and negative outcomes, so spend some time looking at this section here. Also then focus on how ACEs can be prevented. Read through this. A lot of this is informational. Again, I think you know this stuff already, but I need you to be familiar with where to find this within the study itself, okay? Once you're done reviewing this area, you're going to scroll back up to the top. Of course, there are many ways to get there, but I want you to focus on the CDC Kaiser ACE study. So when you click on that, then expand everything, okay? And the information here I want you to read through is the background behind the study. So the original ACEs study was conducted by Kaiser Permanente from 1995 to 1997. What I think is interesting here is how big the study is. So 17,000 Health Maintenance Organization members from Southern California receiving physical exams completed the surveys regarding their childhood experiences and their current health status and behaviors. 17,000. That's, again, if any of you have done studies before, you know how small some of the samples can be. 17,000 people, especially for an ongoing, and that was just for 2 years, but in an ongoing sense where this research continues, means there's a whole lot more than that. So again, read through this area in here, and then I want you to focus and read through the ACEs pyramid so that you're familiar with how the pyramid is set up and, again, the relationship there that they're trying to establish with that information. Here's an area where I really want you to slow down. So look at these study questionnaires. Look at the family health history questionnaires for male and female. If you are a male, click on this, complete it. Complete it for yourself just to understand what's going on. One, so you can be familiar with it, but two, why not take a look at yourself? The same thing for the females out there. If you're a female, click on that one as well. Do the same for the health appraisal questionnaire, male and female version. click on those two, okay? Then I want you to take a look at the data and statistics section. Here's where we get into some of the numbers. You're going to want to look first at the ACEs definitions here, expand that out, read through everything from emotional abuse all the way down to the bottom here, physical neglect. Look at what those definitions are and what they mean, okay? Then take a look at participant demographics. Here's the demographic information for the waves 1 and 2 of the sample size of 17,337. Again, this is a huge sample size for a study. You can see the male and female, the race, age, education, etc. So just take a look at those bits of information and then look at the ACEs prevalence in terms of this sample study again, waves 1 and 2, and then look and see emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, household challenges. You can read through those. And then areas of neglect, you can read down here then as well, the score prevalence for those areas, okay? So last but not least in this section, major findings. We probably could have started with this. I don't think any of these major findings are, again, going to surprise anybody. The study does substantiate a lot of facts that, again, I would argue are probably common sense. But we have a study now. It continues on. Look at what the study substantiates. As the number of adverse childhood experiences increases, so does the risk for the following. And look at how extensive this list is here. Okay, so part of this lesson is to spend substantial time going through this ACEs study. Look at it. Read through every little tidbit in detail. Read the other things that I didn't even cover in here because there's a lot over here. You can see there's a lot more information over here to the left-hand side. There's some other things even above that as well. So enjoy the experience and familiarize yourself with this data. Alrighty? Thanks. As you go through the data there in that ACEs study website, keep in mind this truly is just an introduction. The thing I really want you to pull out of that information is just the hardcore data, the amount of time, energy, effort, years and years that have gone into studying the effects of trauma on childhood development. Okay. Now we're at the end of lesson 3 here. I'm going to introduce again these topics that we've got for the discussion topics for this series. Don't forget there's a quiz here as well to take it. And good luck. I look forward to reading your postings, and we will see you in Lesson 4. So again, as I mentioned at the beginning of Lesson 3, the discussion board topics, here they are again. Number 1, reflecting on what constitutes adverse childhood experiences. Talk about how suffering, just one, might affect a young developing child. And number 2, imagine that a child is regularly subjected to adverse childhood experiences on an almost daily basis. Discuss how this might affect the development of a young child as well. Alrighty? Thank you.